Good evening, everybody. Um, just going to once again, discuss the possible severe weather threat that's been talked about for a while. And I've heard a number of things, and we're still in the marginal for the areas north of Birmingham and Tuscaloosa, Anniston and Gadsden. The areas north of there, towards the Shoals, and Athens and Decatur, Coleman, Huntsville, Madison, Arab, Fort Payne, Fayetteville, even to Hamilton and Coleman and down south. We're still basically the north central part of Alabama is still in the marginal risk. Basically from Highway 43, I-65, US 231, 431, Interstate 59 north, and and the Natchez Trace Parkway, of course, and I-22, or at least most of I-22, and the marginal risk. Talking about the highways and all and the interstates. And the marginal risk in the areas south of there, south of I-20, basically south of Birmingham and Tuscaloosa, Anniston and Gadsden, down to Montgomery, Mobile, Dothan, where where they've got a flash flood watch that includes Dothan and places like that, and Enterprise also, basically along the Gulf, down to the Gulf Coast, or a slight risk for strong to severe storms, possible strong to severe storms, and I've heard numerous things saying the threat's low. Of course, it's not zero, but it's low. But I've just heard a number of things like where, such as if there's storms, if there's a complex of storms along the Gulf Coast, that would greatly reduce the threat. And the other thing I've heard is um, if there if there may the the storms might there might be instability and all there might be some instability and all that before the dynamic support of the storms moves away or something like that. That may not make sense, but that's just what I've been hearing and all. But of course, with the marginal risk for the possibility of strong to severe storms, it only means isolated storms are possible that one or two of them become might briefly become severe or something like that. That's possible. It's possible, but most of them may not even turn severe, but you can't rule it out. The one thing we've all probably heard James Spann talk about all the time is when it comes to thunderstorms, expect expect the unexpected, or in other words, be prepared for the unexpected. Just be prepared for it, and that's what we all need to be doing. Now, as far as what we got going on right now, any rain, the storms are out. They are not severe. James Spann mentioned earlier, a few minutes ago or so, that there's no severe storms expected tonight. Well, this is what I heard him say earlier. Now, tomorrow, he also mentioned that if there's any storms that form along the dry line, if they develop, they might turn severe. And we'll just have to watch them very carefully. And there's a chance they may not develop, especially if there's storms along the Gulf Coast or if the dynamic support that will cause form if it lives or if it goes away. And those two possibilities are there. But, you know, right now it's just a kind of a wait and see mode right this minute for tomorrow. That's the key word, basically the key word for it is possible. Not likely, but it's possible. I mean, I've heard that the threat's very low, but it's not zero. If it does happen, out of what I've heard from 48 and all in, the hail and damaging winds are the threat. I heard from 31 a few minutes ago on their weather app the same thing, and also that there's a very very low threat for a tornado or two, brief one or two, but that's what I've heard. Could it change? Absolutely, but things could change in a heartbeat, and the best thing we can all do at this point is just be prepared. Make sure no weather radios are turned on. Make sure they're working. Make sure they're turned up loud enough to where if a severe thunderstorm warning or two should be issued, if it were to be issued, you'll wake the weather radio will wake you up and it'll set up a it'll have a very loud tone. It'll wake you up in the middle of the night or the pre-dawn hours. It'll sound a very, very loud alarm. It'll wake you up. You can turn on the TV or the live stream on 48 or 31 or 54 or 19. The Huntsville stations or Channel 6 and the other Birmingham and Montgomery stations and Mobile stations. Just make sure that's turned up. Don't rely on the sirens. And and that's certainly the case right now in Texas and Oklahoma and perhaps even Arkansas where they already got tornado watches in place. There's storms forming out there already. Let's see if we got a tornado watch. Excuse me, till midnight for those in Oklahoma. Make sure I'm not missing anything. It doesn't look like I am, but I don't want to miss it. Hmm. Haven't heard anything so far. Okay. 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 All right. Okay. So far, I've not heard of any warnings at this point. I think probably, quite frankly, I think the main things I've been hearing about, or been seeing on Twitter and all, discussing the weather, has been that earthquake that struck Anchorage, Alaska, earlier this morning or sometime today. That's the main thing I've been uh, hearing about a lot. I tell you, some of the videos I've seen of that, it's just been horrible concerning the earthquake that hit in Anchorage, Anchorage, Alaska. So far, despite despite the damage that I've heard or the we've heard, I, so far I've not heard of anyone being injured or killed, and that's a blessing. But they certainly need our prayers before you go to bed tonight. Say a prayer for those that were affected by the earthquake in Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska, all the places that were affected by it, that were hit by it. So far, I've not heard of any injuries or fatalities related to it, and that's good. I'm pray it stays that way. I mean, it's bad enough when there's damage, but when someone gets hurt or killed in it, that's even more harm. That's even worse. You know, buildings and roads and vehicles and all property can be replaced, but a life can never ever be replaced. So that's what everybody should keep in mind of. Yeah, I'm not saying property and all is not important. I'm not saying that at all. Of course it's important. But lives are more important. And, you know, like I just said, property and all, homes, businesses, roads, cars, vehicles of any kind, and property of any kind can all be replaced. It can always be replaced. But a life can never be replaced. So keep that in mind right now, please. Excuse me. The other thing I heard from J.P. Dice, who's the chief meteorologist at Channel 6 in Birmingham, in other words, Fox 6, WBRC, that's Channel 6 in Birmingham. One of the things he said was the main severe weather threat is going to be placed for out in places like Montgomery and Dothan and all locations south along the Gulf Coast, but you know that could change at any time. I mean, the north central part of the state, from Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Anniston, Gadsden northward towards the Shoals, the Huntsville, Athens, Decatur, Coleman, Moulton, Albertville, Arab, Fort Payne, Scottsboro, Phil Campbell, Fayetteville, Tennessee, all those locations, and even westward in the Mississippi and the rest of Tennessee, southern Tennessee, and all is in a marginal risk for the potential strong to marginally severe storms, while the area south towards Montgomery, south of Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, Madison, Gadsden, south of there, basically south of I-20, are at a slight risk for strong to severe storms. Bottom line is everybody in the state just needs to be aware of the situation and pay attention to any. I mean, could there be any warnings? Yes, you know it's possible. Or Okay. Hearing the siren just now. Hmm. Everything's okay. But yeah, that's the bottom line right now. All we need to do at this point is just pay close attention to the weather. Make sure our weather radios are turned on loud, turned up very loud, and if you have any of the free mobile apps from any of the Huntsville TV stations, such as WHNT News 19, WFF 48 News, Y31 News, and WZDX News. As I said, those are the Huntsville TV stations. And if you have any of the free mobile apps from ABC 3340, WBRC Fox 6, CBS 42, and WTVM 13, those are all in Birmingham, and WSFA 12, and the Alabama News Network in Montgomery. And the only stations I can think of in Mobile is WAL Fox 10 and WKRG. Those are in Mobile. If you have their apps on your phone, all their free mobile apps on your phone, that's what we're talking about is having multiple ways of receiving the warnings if they're needed or if they're issued, and have them set for your current location. That way, should there be any warnings issued on the apps, it'll only go off for your current location. That's the bottom line. And have a readiness kit such as helmets, shoes, you name it all, and medicine, all that stuff. And if you're on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, follow a very reliable source. You know, make sure it's from a reliable source, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. As long as we're all ready for it. I mean, is it going to be a major break or anything like that? No. Is it going to be an outbreak? Absolutely no. But remember the thing: all it takes is one tornado or hail or damaging wind event or earthquake, anything like that, to come down your out of the whole state and to come down your street in your neighborhood. And if that one tornado or hail or damaging wind, earthquake event, or any serious weather event, if only one of those comes down out of the whole state, comes down your street in your neighborhood, then the event you will not, may or may not forget. So you also need to keep that in mind as well. Okay, what I'm gonna do for now is, um, unless something changes, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video right now, and I'll do another one before the night's over. And if there's any warnings tomorrow, overnight tonight or in the pre-dawn hours in the morning, I'll get right on here and let you know about it. Let you know if you're in the warning or not, and what you need to do and all that. There's no need to panic. You just need to be prepared. And as long as you're prepared, we're gonna be fine. So keep that in mind, please. And if there's any warnings going out around 10:45, which is the time I go into work tomorrow morning, I will not be able to post the information about the warnings. I'd love to, but I won't be able to if it's while I'm working. You'll just have to rely on your weather radio and whatever reliable local radio or TV station that you always listen to. Rely on them if that happens. I'm just giving you an early heads up on that. Let's hear this from Brad Travis on 48. Wow. Now there's already tornado warnings out in Arkansas and Oklahoma and Texas. Really in Oklahoma and Arkansas. You got tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings in place. Wow. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video right now. And I'll do another one tonight unless something changes. But just be prepared. We're gonna be fine.